Hello everyone and welcome to my second Hex Basics series where I share my newbie insights of this game. Well, today I want to go over a game I played yesterday with someone pretty strong on the server because I feel like there have been lots of basic shapes here that you must know if you want to become strong at this game. So the game starts pretty normal. It feels to me like the second move that he played is a bit over concentrated at this point. I like to spread a bit more than that, but I guess it's okay. So far it's all pretty standard. At this point, there's nothing to talk about so far. Actually, about those I would like to talk about later, but let's first get here. Because at this point, I feel like I must invade to his side. It looks too big already and too strong. So, one option would be to just take the first line, I guess, and I don't know, maybe live here. But I felt like that's not enough for me. So, what I decided to do is to use some very nice, you might call it Sabaki skills in this game, but I'm not sure. I played here on the second line. Well, normally I feel like second line is quite weak because it's very easy to attack with the first line move, and that's what he actually done. But at this point there is some very strong order of moves that I can use, and it goes like this. I played here, and that actually threatens to create an eye, right? You know that already. If you watch the first series, or maybe even the rules video. So not I threaten to make an eye and just leave here. So what if he tries to block it? It looks the most natural. Well, at this point, I have some very nice move that is playing here. Someone offered to call this a wheel shape. The idea of this shape is that there is a Miai here, right? I can play either this move or this move to make an eye. So I'm alive with both. If it tries to block one of them, I make it eye on the other, and actually this one stone is connected, right? It can connect either here or here, so it cannot disconnect me. So at this point, I'm just alive with everything. So I feel like it's a very nice combination in order to make life. To first threaten to make actually that happens a lot with invasion, to me at least. The threaten to make an eye and then create the wheel shape. That's quite nice. One more thing I want to share with you is actually what happened on the top left, which is my three stones here on the fourth line. I feel like this fourth line for me just keep proving itself. It's being like the line of victory in this game because I feel like at this point, even though the blue player just keeps trying to put pressure on this blue, but actually it's just impossible. Why is it impossible? Because anytime I want, and he cannot prevent it from me. I can both this move and that move, and make an eye. Why I cannot prevent it? Well, if he plays in one of those two, I just play on the first line, and he's dead. There's just no way for him to break out because he only has two liberties at this point. If he tries like this, then he just captured. Tries is captured. From the other side, it's also just the same. So, and it's actually going the same for this move. They're just identical. So if I can get both those moves, then I'm just alive, and there's just no pressure that they can put on me. That's why I really like the fourth line because you cannot put pressure on it so easily. And actually, in the game, I think he even added some more moves to try and annoy me there. Yeah, even after this move, he still cannot. Maybe I think at this point he can try and cut this one stone like this way. But still not. Yeah, I think like this is the best he can do at this point. And after spending so many moves, it might not worth it anymore. Well, one more thing I want to talk about that I'm not really sure it's true because you see I'm still quite a beginner in this game. But let's have a look at like in some that didn't really happen, where both players have a three line like the one I had on the first line, but here it's in the middle of the board. I feel like these two walls looks quite identical, but actually there's a big difference between those two. You see that this group can make an eye either here or here, but this group cannot make any eyes. It can only make wheels, right? So it feels to me like the group that blue has is a bit stronger because I already told you that it's the most key point of this game is to try and prevent an eye like playing here, and then if blue doesn't want to be cut off, it will just connect, and here the same will just connect, and then you make an eye, and blue has this stick that's quite worthless. But actually, at this point, the blue player has a much better move. He can just make an eye, and at this point, the red player cannot cut because he will just be captured. So the best he can do is to jump, I guess. But then, still, I don't really have to cut. I can just play here. If he tries to cut, he's still going to die. So at this point, I don't know, the red player looks quite hopeless because if he just keeps jumping, actually, I have two options. I can just capture this stone, or I can just tenuki because he still cannot cut, right? So, and if he just connects, then already he has the weak group and not me. And I don't have to at any point of the game. I just won't have to because I can still even make an eye. So that's why it feels to me like this wall is very strong, but the other one is a bit weaker because I mean, if he tries to use the same tactic, then he's just making a wheel and not an eye. It's still quite strong. I think that the blue player cannot really play here at this point, but in the future, it feels to me like the one on the left is much stronger. Well, yeah, like I went over all the stuff that I wanted to show you in terms of basic shapes, but there is one interesting thing that I really want to share with you because it's quite interesting, and it's about playing mirror hacks. Like if the blue player plays here and you just keep, I think you get the idea of mirroring all the moves that he plays. It feels like if you're familiar from the game of Go, it feels like when someone plays in the center, you cannot really, you cannot just follow what he does because you're going to die somehow. But it's very tricky in this game because the most natural move here looks probably this, like creeping, preventing an eye. And if the red player connects, then you just capture him by ladder, right? But at this point, the red player has the option to just do the same. And if you try to capture something, well, you have to decide which to take and which to defend, right? So if you take this one, and the red player takes this one, the board is still identical, but at this point, I feel like there is no longer a way for the blue player to win this game because there's just you cannot use this. Usually, you can break stuff using the center, you break mirrors, but here the center is already so solid. There's just no way to use it. So I feels to me like even here already, maybe the best thing that the blue player can do is well, I can still actually even this is not really breaking the mirror. It's just yeah, it's very difficult. And there's one more option that's also fails, and that's to how did I yeah playing this one and then red keeps the mirror and then blue plays here. It looks quite good because it threatens to play here next turn. And if the red player plays here, well, then the mirror is broken. But if the red player plays here, and then blue does what he threatened to do, but the red does the same here. So again, it seems like this game will also be reds. By the way, if you're not familiar with the rules, then the red player gets 1.5. It was half a point until now, but we changed it to 1.5 points. Komi means like he gets default points for because he's not the first one to play, so he gets a disadvantage. So if the board remains identical by both colors by the end of the game, the red player will win. My idea of breaking off the mirror that I found is that when you play this one and the red player keeps the mirror, at this point you cannot play here because I feel like it's over already. What my idea was is to play here. What this move does, well, it prevents an eye. And the idea of me of breaking the mirror is keeping all the center weak. Because as long as it's weak, you can capture it. And once eyes form in the center, it's probably over already. At this point, if the red player tries to keep up the mirror, And I feel like this move already you cannot follow it because if red player keeps the mirror here, you just cut. If the red player cuts, he's dead first. And if he cannot cut, if he just defends, then you take this stone already. And plus, this is already not a mirror, right? So he already broke the mirror and already captured one stone. If he cuts here, you're safe. Either here or here. This probably is stronger. So to me, it feels like the red player cannot keep the mirror once you play this third move, which is quite nice. Now we have to ask ourselves, is this move a good move? And it might be that it's not. It might be that it's quite slow because you see, you're just attaching your own stone. We're not used to doing that. But actually, it prevents an eye from the red player. So if he just defends, it might this game might actually be good for blue. So it feels to me like a very nice way of breaking the mirror, and that's what I wanted to share with you because I've already seen mirror games being actually played once, got and just won quite instantly. Because if you're not familiar with it, you're going to probably lose. So I better share it with you so I won't get a bit of disappointment from from losing like that. So I guess that's the end of this video. So thanks for watching, everyone. See ya.